feeders around. We have our over here our fountain and bird bath. That's right here. I'm hoping I have a decent signal. I'm aiming for a decent signal. There's our garden gnome. His name is Ray, I believe. And there's Go. Hi, Gary. Good to see you. Thank you for coming in. I just came on a short time here, but you know how it can be. Let me uh, let me try to get to the lights. I really want to get with here. So let's see. These are zinnias. Planted these today. In I bought a planter. And tell me if the signal's good. Looks good. Thank you. I've been missing Tour Live lately. Finally caught you. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not. I'm not in all that often. I mean, that's probably one of the big things. It's so to catch me live is a toughie. That's for sure. So let me walk around here. Tell me if things are bright enough. I can't make it brighter, but I think that looks good on my screen. Let's see. So that's our little hummingbird feeder. I got to talk quieter. I live in a neighborhood, so that's our little girly shaped. Forgive me if that's not correct in your book. Please leave now. It was both a favor. Uh, I mean, I'm not controversial, but my God, political correctness gets to be a bit too much. This is their favorite feeder right here, and it's a full pint and then some maybe. It has. I'm trying to keep my head here. I should take this and carry it separate to use as a light. There we go. So they use this one quite. Actually, most. Then there's that one right there. And walking over here. By the way, I have blink cameras on my hummingbird feeders and my bird bath also right now. But they're very portable, which is good. Blinks are nice. And this one here is not used as much. There's definitely some hummingbird poo there. So let's see, nice items in your yard. Tell you, I've been working really hard at it. I mean, the coolest part. Look, I know you can see those lights. People have problems seeing the space station when I'm pointing right at it. It's right there. I'm looking at it, and they can't see it. And I got to turn this light off. There we go. Boom. So here's my yard lights. These are cool. I've made it, and I can kind of walk the tour in a bit here, but I'll show you the lights. There's 34 lights. That's the neighbor's back porch light, and they go all the way around the yard. There's a little dip in the yard right there where they dug up and properly filled a cesspool back in the 70s, and it's just compressed down some. It's not a danger, but that's why that's squared off there. So I don't walk in that. Then it goes around. Here's the back fence. Some stuff might be in the way that you can't see the lights too well. Uh, and that's all you're seeing is lights. So 34. They go around trees and they go around any obstacle. You can walk my entire yard without any kind of lights. And they're dollar store lights. This is the cool part. Dollar store lights at Dollar General, which usually can charge, any amount of equal dollar amounts they want and still call it a dollar store somehow. I'm trying to turn that light back on. There we go. Wanna I like the flood lamp. That's usually the best one to work for most of this stuff. So I'll show you. Look at the flowers. Look at the zinnias. They're really pretty, and I got two lamps in there, and you can see them from the house. I mean, it lights them up quite beautifully. So this is between the hummingbird feeders. So I don't have any across the backyard. There's no lights there, but anywhere there's a tree or any obstacle, like over here is our finch feeder, and this is actually going to get moved. It's where the squirrels can get at it really easy. They were driving me nuts today, but see, I have lights uh, on any obstacle. So that's a tree way over there. I can probably show you. I hate to shine the lights at nighttime with the neighbors. I don't think somebody's breaking in my house. But I have the lights all across there. I have some dollar store lights. I'll tell you what, they're terrific. What do you lose if in that for a buck? I mean, you make out so good. So I started showing right before you come in. I think there's Ray the garden gnome. Again, solar lights all over, so I can't walk into anything. And I'll back up for this one here. There's the bird bath and solar fountain, which works tremendously well. Filter clogs up. You got to keep the water really clean, or the filter clogs up. But that's all cement. It weighs about 130, 140 pounds. And there's Ray next to there with his little bucket. And I have a light on there so you can see that. So you can walk anywhere in my yard. This is probably the cool part. You walk anywhere in my yard and you don't need any kind of lights. You just stay between any two lamps that are. I'm trying to turn that flashlight thing again off. Just stay between any of the. And I'll give you the view from behind the. Looks like it does looks like Big Dipper minus a light or two there. That's nice. So anyway, yeah, I just walk around and I'm really testing the signal also here. Can't beat a solar light for a buck now. The best ones that come up with the same light, same exact light, but they were red instead of black, was on eBay for $3 a piece, sold into 12 packs of 36 bucks. Um, Now I got 34 for 34 bucks plus tax, but and they're just nice. How see that's why we'll never win when it comes to in the world of global economics and trade. Uh, Sorry, it's windy out here, a little bit breezy and stormy. It's been that kind of a day, but you have a manufacturer that can take a 120 milliamp battery, a solar collector, a diffused plastic lamp with a long spike that tucks away to conserve space when you're not using it. It's and ship it to the United States to a distributor, goes to your dollar store and sells for a buck, and somebody turns profit. How can that be? I mean, these would cost $65 each if they were made in the U.S. I'm sorry, we can't compete. That's the terrible part. I gotta put my glasses back on because I want to read. You know what? I don't know where my glasses are. Uh, there we go. Okay. Sorry for all the darkness. Kind of think of it as theater of the mind, maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Can't be solar lights for a buck. You just can't. And again, I don't think we can compete with these things. So the flowers are. I had three individual flower pots um, that Tracy got for her birthday. And today I bought I think a 5-inch pot, maybe six, of the zinnias here, and added everything into this holder I got. And it's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous thing to look at. And I'll give credit where credit's due, and that is Haps has, as long as you got the signal, Haps has got absolutely incredible video quality. It's just nothing Periscope could have touched. It's not even close. So kudos for that for sure. I don't know and don't think that there is a screen share option. I would love to go right now into the Gin Rummy game and play it on my phone while you see it and hear it. If you can do that, somebody tell me. But if if that's wishful thinking, it'd be a nice thing to contemplate anyway. Haps. Let's see. I have a couple that have lasted more than a year. You got your money's worth out of them for sure. The $65 American would be a stainless steel glass with a lithium battery. Probably come with his own windmill. I mean, just give just give them a little more time. They'll have windmills on the solar lights. Oh my God, it's just terrible. It's terrible. I'm not. what's the word? I'm not thrilled with the first 5 months in office, which he called a year and 5 months the other day. Of course, he was comparing himself to him and Trump. It was poorly written, but it sounded like he's been in office for a year and 5 months. Uh, when he was talking about when Trump first started dealing with the COVID situation. Let's see. Still thinking about the windmill for the solar lights. And then they cost $600 a year to replace. I mean, wind makes no sense. Wind makes no sense. A proper windmill that generates, and I don't know what the output is, but I'm just walking around pointing at lights. I know. I'm not going to shove this light in my face either. It's too much. I'd rather do radio. Uh, a mind mill. Imagine all of a sudden. I don't know what they would come up with. I mean, take advantage. I mean, if we have global warming and all the glaciers are melting and the waters is rising, then put turbines out in the ocean, more of them. I really think that. I mean, the maintenance on that I've never heard, but I can imagine is competitive to a windmill. But windmills cost 500 grand a year to maintain each. 500 grand. Where's the turnaround in that? And what did my wife just read today? I believe that by 2027, all cars in America should be electric. Better charge up at home. That's all I gotta say. I'm not going to go 250 miles out of my way to to an electric charge station just to go somewhere. I mean, if I'm going to go to Washington and a straight through trip is about just under 5 hours with traffic working with me. But from here to Washington, but I have to go out to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to charge. I don't see the benefit of that. And then to sit there for 2.5 hours, if you want a full battery, of course. But what generates that electricity that they're putting into their car? And the answer is coal power plants, coal and oil power plants. That's exactly what's creating the energy. You're just storing it differently and distributing so freaking slow. I don't see or understand that that's going to be a viable future for vehicles. Just think, connecting your own home, you're going to have to put another circuit box in, tie that in. That's going to be $1,000, minimum, just to create a charge station there. So I don't. People are saying, "What is he doing? What's that supposed to be?" I bet he's on a bridge. I bet he's on a bridge somewhere. Looking at, yeah, that's a bridge. And green tea. Hi, green tea. I think we may have talked briefly. And beam me up, Mr. Scott. Thank you for coming back. I got to catch up. See, I should talk more. You couldn't. Oh my God. There's some yard sale. Yeah, in your yard. Oh, I went way back. Okay. Just Trump playing a role better. But I enjoyed Trump because he was, to me, entertaining. I could see if you're a liberal and you're far, far left, that watching Trump made you throw up in your mouth a little bit each and every rally. Had to be. Because that's how a lot of people right now feel with the liberals in there, and nobody more left. I mean, she's so far left, she comes around to the right, and that's Kamala Harris. I mean, it's terrible. Whereas Trump always called her Kamala. She was being brought into the ring to wrestle him. So I'm talking, and it's late. I know it is late. I just want to watch this back, and I gotta reach stuff. What am I doing here? But absolutely, both pups, they don't really care about people. Man, I'll tell you, Trump is one incredible actor. If he, just I mean, the choreographed things, but the stuff that I think of as an example, come on, focus, is when he, at the end of a rally and at the end of some committee thing that he, probably the Republican Party committee something. But anyway, he walks over and he grabs a hold of the U.S. flag and he kisses it and tells it that he loves it. I mean, no, no, Biden would smell it and then he would ask it if it wants ice cream. I mean, he's just not he's not with it. We know he's not with it. Oh, forgive me, but that's one man's opinion. I enjoy Trump, gotta say. I'm all the way to the end. Wow. Now, be nice, green tea about Biden. It's not ours to judge. Not ours to judge, but you know, an opinion is an opinion. Uh, that's not mine. I know he's got a lot of evil in his past too, and he's just continuing Obama's administration. Obama even said that he's continuing where I left off is pretty much what he said just a couple of days ago. So that and the new far left agenda that's pushing his buttons. I mean, you tell him something enough, he's going to believe it. Come on, look at him. I got, gotta see here. Yeah, I did. I enjoyed Trump. I did. I enjoyed Trump. You know, I don't know what to think about it. I'm surprised the market didn't take some huge reaction when there was a transfer of power, and even before. I'm sorry, even after, not before, with the Capitol on January 6th. That was. I keep walking back and forth to the same flowers. Sorry about that. There we go. Look at that. Dollar store lights. Can you beat that? I sure can't. Wow. Keeping this has a great signal. That's cool. I'm on my Wi Fi that practically hangs on my kitchen window. So let me see here. Yeah, I wasn't planning on doing a show, and it's almost 12:30. I don't want the neighbors. If I laugh at myself, the neighbors are going to hear me. Not that they're that close; they're over there. There's a house two away. People across the street, and they have a dog now. Oh my God, I don't get it. Dogs are great, but barking dogs totally bite. Um, and the kids are at school, the parents are working, the dog's by itself all day, and it barks. Uh, it's not an extreme thing. I mean, it's a 3 out of 10, but the three, the times that he's going to go 3 out of 10 days, it might bark for an hour. Drives me nuts because I can hear it even over the TV with the air conditioning on. It's got kind of a loud groaning dog. So nothing else overly bothers me too bad. Just that dog and squirrels. Oh my God! This morning I come outside. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Yep. I thumbs down Biden videos. I'd treat a man with respect. If I saw his face face to face, I'd have some honest questions, though. Oh yeah, no doubt about that. Um, I always said, and I mentioned this, I think the other day, that I asked my wife, "Who do you think? Anybody in history? Do you think I would like to sit down and have dinner with?" And she said instantly. She said, "Bill Clinton," and that was the answer. That was my answer. How cool is that? Uh, I don't know. It's just somebody who really gets off on meeting new people. He gleans stuff from everybody that he meets. He truly does. Back to the gnome. For those who didn't see it, here we go. There's the gnome, and there we go. There's my bird feeder. Bird, listen to me. Bird bath with the solar lamp. What's not this one isn't lit. I'm thinking. I'm looking at my lamp. It's catching me in the eyeball. But that's a, solar fountain. It shoots up to about 2 feet high. It's and when it gets up there, I mean the wind starts to play havoc with it, and you know I don't know 10 minutes, 20 minutes later, if you have one of the high shooting nozzles on it, and it comes with 9 different ones. Uh, but I try to keep it to kind of like a bubbling brook kind of a thing, maybe maybe 6 or 8 inches, and no matter what, the water just falls right back into the bird bath. That way, I can you know keep it going without having to add water to it a couple of times a day. Sad being interesting. Yeah, I, except for the fact that he would spend half of that conversation listening to me and my life and about me and things I've accomplished, and he would remember that. He's got that kind of a talent. Never, and it's the last time we had a balanced budget. Look at it now, 24, almost $25 trillion. That's just a crazy amount of money. I mean, the Gerald Ford, the super aircraft carrier, just built, year half, maybe a year and a half ago. First one using the magnetic assisted launch. I'm very dry. I got a soda here somewhere. But it's Emos, and that's Emos is out at Lakehurst where I was before I retired. Soda drink. Hang on. And that was right next to my power plant. So I looked at Emos launches all the time over there, and that's what's aboard the Ford. The problem with the Ford is though EMALS is not fully tested and it still doesn't work all that great with an F-35 and a couple other planes. None of that's secret. I'm not telling anything you don't find on the web somewhere, especially at the Navy site. So, you guys watched, anybody listening who don't know, you watched the movie Top Gun and you see the F-18 or F-14. I don't know when it was dated. It could be a 16. Uh, 15. Okay, we're talking Navy, Air Force, so it's even numbers. Probably 16. I'm thinking maybe a 16. 18s are cool. The F-35 is really super cool, but they have problems launching it and they have problems catching it. The hook that grabs a hold. There's three trip wires when you land, and you kind of aim for the center. That way, if the boat's coming up or the boat's going down, you'll catch the one before or the one after. And it's a pretty quick stop. You're pulling about almost 12 G's, negative 12 G's on a stop, but it's only for a second or two. So you don't pass out. You get one hell of a rush, I'm sure. But when they take off, they're pulling 2.5 to 3 G's or better. They go from 0 to 220 miles an hour off a carrier deck in 2.2 seconds. And there's a wall that comes up behind the jet that just took off. So he's revving his engine up because they have to take off with the engine full revving in case the catapult for some reason fails and it doesn't bring them up to speed. They have to have their engines all the way up, and they have a 50,000 pounds per square inch breakaway bar that is connected to hold the plane back when it's revving up its engines to take off, and then the hook, it's called a shuttle, pulls the jet and gets it down there at 220 miles an hour and up in the air. And that's what I did on a land-based facility. Is I ran the power plant that made the steam that is used to propel that shuttle down the carrier deck and launch the plane. That's all steam power. That's why in Top Gun, when after they shoot the jet off, you see steam. You'll see right in the movies. You see steam coming up from the railing, and they're called in our case they were called preheats, but they're expanding rail sections that you can adjust the amount of steam that goes to them and control how much expansion or contraction takes place. And that's the rail. It's a single rail where the shuttle is that pulls the jet along. Very cool stuff. I mean, I did that for I was on the base for 32 years, and I'm now 5 months retired and enjoying the day. I've taken up birds and dollar store lights and probably not a whole lot else. Now let me catch up here. F-22. That without going any further yet, the Raptor is such a gorgeous plane. The pilots, I mean, it's a shame uh, is the fact that they were getting goofy flying it. They pointed a button and not know what it did. For a long time, they were grounded, but there's not a pilot out there that flew it that didn't say it responded as if it was part of his body. There was no lag. The plane just did what your mind told it practically, although you physically interact. But everything's in a heads-up display. It's a brilliant and beautiful plane, and I've seen them on display at the Air Force base. It's part of my facility. It's three. It's Army, Air Force, and Navy, all together on one huge base. Three separate bases attached. But anyway, the Air Force part, I we housed the Blue Angels for every show that they came up this way. They would come to our base and they'd park 200 feet from my. I mean, I got five Blue Angels there, parked 200 to 300 feet away from where I'm standing out the door of the power plant, and it's amazing to see when they all pull up and they're 18 inches away when they pull up in a perfect line. And but the guys, when they shut it down, that's not where it stops. It's really cool. They open up the cowl at the same time. They stand up. They come down the stairs. Each step, they're all five are mimicking the captain, commander, whatever he might be, or she. Uh, and uh, they come down, step on the ground perfectly together. They walk up and form a straight line, and the captain salutes them. And now they're just regular men or women again. They're not part of everything is uh, everything has to happen with such precision, and you can't break it until you're down on the ground and separated from the airplanes. That I thought was really cool to see, and that's something not everybody gets to see. Not on a private basis like that. Just me and the Blue Angels. I mean, it's pretty cool stuff. So, and that's what happened with the Thunderbirds. They all crashed in the ground, and when they were all killed, they just turned into a pile of nothing on the ground because the head pilot, he was supposed to signal when they flare up, and he had a heart attack. Never made that, and every one of them, because they're so dependent on everything he says. That's all they listen to. Then they perform to the best of their skills. But he never said pull up or flare up, and they all just followed him right into the ground, and they all died. So it's crazy. And here at Lakehurst, that's where back in 1980 something, two of the Blue Angels crashed here. One pilot for sure was dead. My cousin Terry, who from here maybe 5 miles, 6 miles away, but a wooded area between a road, kind of a V-shaped road and highway that meet each other. But the one plane come down, and he was able to get it, away from housing. Today, it'd be very tough to do that in this area. But so my cousin witnessed the plane coming down. He just ran into the picnic table because I took my dollar store light over and put it in the flower bed. But she went over in the woods just across from her house, and there's the pilot hanging in his parachute up in a tree, and definitely not alive. He was a mess, total mess. So it's been an interesting time working with and around the military like that. Uh, I, I to this day nobody would ever tell me I didn't serve my country. As a civilian, yes, I didn't pack up and go jump on a boat or anything like that for 4 years. That ain't not quite my thing at the time. But I spent all that time seeing people come and go every day that are heading off to in previous years. That the power plant goes all the way back way before, um, right after I'd say right after Vietnam. Let me say that, and well, it was during the Cold War. Definitely during the Cold War was the big time. Jets would be taking off every minute or so because they wanted to mimic perfectly what was going on in the carrier to test the valves out properly. And the power plant then worked with twice as high steam pressure. Uh, you're talking up there, 12, 13, 1400 pounds of steam uh, pressure, 14, about 1400 pounds of steam pressure, and you're pumping out 60,000 pounds an hour. Now, you say to yourself, okay, what is 60,000 pounds of steam? Well, 60,000 pounds of steam is 60,000 pounds of water. It's the same thing. If you evaporate 1 cup of water, it makes 1,600 cups of steam. This is a fact. Look it up. 1 cup of water makes 1,600 cups of steam. So you see the potential. You think of popcorn exploding. Just think how steam has that amount of pressure. 1,600 times. So you took a took a kernel of popcorn, it'd probably be twice as big as your house by the time you get to 1,600 times expansion. So steam's very powerful. Potential. I'm sorry. Uh, it's ready energy. It's ready to go. I don't think potential is the word I'm looking for. But if you need steam, we did it for years, and the whole Cold War was supposedly crazy times. I wasn't in that power plant then. Thank God the air conditioner went off. I wasn't in the power plant then. I'm going to scan over all my runway lights again as I go. Get ready to go inside here shortly. I'm going to read your stuff, guys. I promise. I know a lot of people have already gone to on to bed by the time I get around to the 35. I'll tell you what, uh, and that is that. Um, Give me a second here. Ah, there we go. Soda time again. Trump hates the plane. He hates especially the electromagnetic assisted launch, EMALS, and the S of the system. He hates it. He don't want future carriers to be built off of electrical tracks instead of steam generation. Well, to make steam, you have to burn fuel. Or, actually, it's not really the case with most of the carriers out there. Today, everything's nuclear, so you can, you just need to salinate the water, boil it, treat it, boil it, make steam, make more water, get more water. It's pretty straightforward stuff, uh, but it takes up a lot of physical room in the carrier. Where EMALS is comes in something about twice the size of a rail car, and it just gets dropped into place when the proper cutout is made and ready for it to be dropped in place. So that's a huge difference in the way it is. I mean, 2/3 or more of your length of your carrier is involved in steam production. And a connection issue. Huh. I hope the show was pretty clear here, guys. Let me scroll. 13 messages. Wow. Suffer back up. And you have to, oops, I gotta get back. 22. Well, yeah, I'm only going by what pilots say, and I think it's a beautiful plane. The 22. Uh, I think long term it's going to be scrapped, and that's a sad thing because they haven't worked the bugs out fully on the pilot issue. I mean, they even pumped regular oxygen bottle oxygen into their masks, and they still had some delusional issues. So did I. Ah, there we go. Let me read some messages here. Uh, which is the best design in the air? In my humble opinion, I got to go back out here. The Ruskies stole yep, the YF-23. Uh, okay, that was no. That I'm thinking of. What am I thinking of? A B-1? I'm thinking of one of the bigger planes landed. One of the big spy planes landed, and Russia just took it, bolt for bolt, and rebuilt several of them probably hundreds in their air force. Um, but I gotta read on here. Still 13 messages. I think. uh, it is terrible. I mean, I can flip it around. You know, I'll flip it around, but you can't see me, and I'm not going to put that light on. It's a pain. I'm here. I don't I don't know where I could go where you can see me. I swear that's on me. I'm walking over to the hummingbird feeders with the flower lights. No. Are you serious? You still can't really see me. Anyway, uh, I just skipped way ahead somehow. Let me go back. By the way, and again, kudos to Habs. Their texting is beautiful. Again, compared to Periscope. Periscope, you couldn't just go back and read text. You had to watch the whole thing. And if somebody in hour number two says something, you have to wait 2 hours to go in there and see it. Uh, in theory, I mean, you could skip ahead and stuff like that, but the text was you never knew exactly where it was going to pop up. But I love this a lot. You have a facility. I have 35 out of pure. Whoa, they might well, we had the Strike Force versions. There's only four of them made, and it's made for all three contingencies that we deal with: the Army, Air Force, and Navy. Uh, it too has it it lifts off primarily as a vertical flight vehicle, and then it switches over and takes off, and now it's a jet again. Pretty cool. I mean, and that's how they have to land that thing primarily on the Ford, brand new aircraft carrier. But they can't, they can't catch it. It's too heavy. It's breaking all their cable systems, and I've seen all the cable systems. We do that too. We did that. They do that as that they do. I don't do that anymore. But I've seen how the arresting gear is out there on the fleet, and it's pretty neat. The original cables that would catch planes back in early World War II and such. They had impellers inside of huge drums of heavy oil that were attached to the cable that goes up on the deck. So when the plane came in and caught the cable, it would drag it against the impeller and the heavy oil, two of them, one on each side, and that's what would stop the plane. And kind of ingenious. Not all that different now. Just things are done hydraulically. Again, you can see this on the History Channel. I'm not giving secrets before, before somebody makes a point of that. I froze a second. I hope that was back when. Oh, let's see. Although the text is good, the interface of Haps is a little quirky. I go to touch text, I hit some stupid button, and next thing you know, I can mute somebody that quickly. It's just, yeah, it could be better. I heard about that. That's crazy, but a good story. I like to share my experiences like that just to give some insight. People should tell their story to others. Um, I just think that no matter what you do, there's a story in it that can make others uh, entertained and even impressed, no matter what your job is. And I gotta see if this table is wet. It's just really damp and humid out here. I'm gonna get a soaked rear end if I sit on that. I just better walk around in the dark some more. My battery's holding up pretty good. I'm happy with that. Let's see. They still runs on coal. Not sure what pressure their turbines work at. And this is a big thing. Wait, no, wait a minute. Uh, Denver still runs. Okay, so it's a turbine. If it generates electricity, it's a turbine. People ask me this. Whoever came to work with, and I was teaching them about terminology of our equipment because we had steam turbines. A turbine moves fluid. Okay, it just no matter what the fluid is, it could be oils, it could be water, it could be any kind of fluid. That's what turbines do. Turbines create electricity through electrical mechanical motion of some kind. And so that's a turbine and a turbine. I dealt with turbines. We had, I guess it went up to around 1,500 pounds pressure, so we could supply enough water. You always have to have more uh, water pressure than you do your steam pressure in boilers. Uh, if you didn't have that, the steam would just uh, how do I put this? If you didn't have more water, you wouldn't be able to hold the steam back. The two are always fighting each other up there in a steam drum of any kind of boiler, and it's very turbulent. They have what's called a gauge glass that sticks outside of the main steam drum, and it gives you a relatively accurate level of where the water is inside. It's a safety feature. There's all kind of safety features on a boiler, and these are 5-story high boilers I've worked with on the base. Very, very vertical ones. The ones I primarily dealt with the last 20 years have been first 6 oil, Cleaver Brooks style, then two really large high pressure boilers, all running on heavy 6 oil. That stuff you can turn upside down and it never fall out of a jar at room temperature. Very thick stuff, thicker than Vaseline. It really is. It's almost turns into a jello looking thing, but very hard. You can't overly poke your finger through it at room temperature. So it's right there just above crude oil. So here we go. Let me just check some more stuff here. But that's interesting about Denver. I bet you're about right with 1,600 pounds. Let's see. Come on. It is potential energy. Good. Yeah, yeah, anytime that I always like to think of you have a steel ball on the end of a rope and it's just dangling straight down. If you grab the ball and you lift it up until it's totally horizontal, so it's 90 degrees from where it just was, and you're holding on that ball, that is potential energy right there. As soon as you let go of that ball, you have energy. So, I mean, that's kind of the super layman's version of how potential energy works for anybody that's confused about them. And I don't know all the energies. I never dealt with all of them. I don't think I did. Let's see. They use 10 gauge chuck. I keep missing stuff. My buddy's dad worked at the power plant one time when we were camping. He told us a short story how they remove the soot from the stacks. Oh, soot blowers. Oh my God. Yeah, yeah, soot blowers with the heavy oil. I gotta look around. I gotta. Where's my flashlight? I got a groundhog and I have a skunk that are around here. They don't cause anybody any business, you know. They mind their own business. But one time I'm sitting here watching the stars. I'm always out in the backyard. That's why I'm putting so much effort into it. I'll do this in the daytime to get a much better perspective. It's starting to really shape up nice. Um, there we go. Kill that light again. So there's no critters in the backyard here. I was talking about soot blowers. Yeah, the uh, uh, the the 6 oil has a lot of carbon, a lot of sulfur, and a lot of carbon. And yeah, every you don't do this in the daytime. Typically, I don't think anybody does it in the daytime, but at 4 to 12 and midnight shifts, below the soot, so you've got this long bar, horizontal bar that goes into the boiler, and it faces the tubes on both sides inside the boiler, and there's hundreds and hundreds of it's 30, 40 foot tall tubes that are 2 inches round. And this horizontal bar has, or it's a pipe, a horizontal pipe that has probably 40, 50 holes in it or more. And you have a chain and a bunch of gears on the outside that once the operator sets up the boiler so it's ready for soot blowing, you get a thumbs up and you take and you you pull the chain counterclockwise and you do that 3 full times and that takes and it blows with all the steam pressure. You're just rerouting the steam pressure to blow all the soot off the tubes. and it goes right up to stack because you have a negative draft or even positive draft. Either boiler is possible, and with a negative draft, you need a fan at the top. It's an induced fan at the top to help to suck all the combustible gases and etc. out the stack, including when you do the soot blowing. Soot that blows all over the parking lot, all over your car, eat your it's like battery acid practically on your car. We constantly, I mean, we had to do it. You can't not do soot blowing on a boiler. You lose efficiency super fast. If you see that your fuel per hour, the amount of fuel you're using, whatever fuel it is, if you see that go up, and these are all water tube boilers that you do this, you have water and fire tube, but water tube boilers, the water travels in the tubes, and all the flames from the burners circulate over the tubes and water inside. It's always a surface area thing. That's where you get. And you might have, I think our boilers had probably close to 400 tubes, very long, very tall. And the back in the days when we had six oil, again we were doing that, twice at night to uh, keep the efficiency there. If we didn't blow tubes, you would see the amount of fuel you use per hour increase. And if there's no changes in a system, no weather changes at all, which with oil can be a definite issue, uh, then you pretty much know that you haven't blown the tubes, and your efficiency went to crap. So you take all the soot off the tubes, the flame hits the tubes better, boils the water better, more efficient, and bingo, you save a lot of fuel in the process. So yeah, soot blowers are I did 15 to 16 years of soot blowers, and I was fortunate enough in probably half of those years, or close to half of those years, I had. Am I still facing me? Yeah, I am. There's my kitchen window right up there. Okay. Not that it makes any difference, but I'm just pointing at the silly yard lights again. 30, 34. Little, and look at them holding up. I mean, they're doing really well. Going over there, there's that plant right there in the center, all the way across the backyard. Now it's coming back up on the side of the house. So that's that. It's looking nice. I'm going to take my wife for a little walk, a little stroll. We're going to come out at night, like now, and we're going to walk around between the different lights that are far away from each other. You stay in the middle there. You can turn and twist like a maze in this yard. You could walk, hundreds and hundreds of steps, and in total darkness, you can see exactly where you're going. You don't have to really see. You just stay between the lights, and you're not going to hit any obstacles. It's been challenging just to put these lights out there, and I'll make a video in the daytime so you can really see them. So let me see, where are we here? Yeah, number six is the gloop. You got that right. And you had to have dedicated clothes. I don't care if you wear regular people clothes or a uniform, a workers Dickies kind of a uniform, whatever it might be. You had to keep that and use that for work, because you get a drop of six oil on any clothes you have, you might as well call it now work clothes, because you're not going to wear it out. You're not going to wear it anywhere. Six oil. And the main time you really get a lot of oil on you is when you're changing burners on a boiler, because you have, steam on one side, oil on the other, going through a small burner tip with a bunch of holes. And as it comes out, the whole thing gets atomized, turns basically into a spray. And at that point, it ignites and stays ignited really, really well. But the temperature of the oil going into the boiler is 195 degrees roughly. You got to get it up to 140 just to move it. And we had huge oil tanks, had 1 million gallons of oil. This is 20 some years ago now, but those tanks no longer exist. That's my disclaimer, I guess. But we had 1 million gallons of oil, and 6 to 7 tanker trucks of oil would come Monday through Friday every week. We'd get it was 6,200 gallons of six oil we could get out of the tanker car, like the ones, the same ones they use for gasoline for your local gas station kind of tanker. But they had to stay heated in order to get the six oil out of the truck, and about 800 gallons of oil stayed inside of the heated tanker because it's just residual oil. It's not going to come off. It's staying liquid, but it's just too thick, and it's just not going to come out the hose. It would take you hours to get it all. That's probably the best way to say it. That's how slow it moves at that point. So so we would get 6 to 7 tankers 5 days a week, and that was just enough oil to keep what we had at a steady rate. We were burning 27,000 gallons of six oil per day. Per day. It's crazy when you think of the numbers. So I mean, I worked on huge industrial stuff. That's what I did my whole career as a boiler man, and it was great. I mean, I'm a licensed steam engineer. That's that probably never would have happened without getting into this field, I'm sure. But it was something you study real hard for, and with well, God's blessing, I think, is a test is tough. You go and you elevate yourself up the ladder with licensing, and I got myself up there quite a ways. Didn't go to the top. You have to literally be a power plant designer in order to make use of the New Jersey Blue Seal license, not Blue Seal, forgive me, Gold Seal license. That's again for somebody who is designing from scratch a power plant, figuring out how much power it's got to create, how you do that. The water system, our water system alone was fantastic. It would take a long time to learn unless you have somebody experienced to tell you, because we just had water that would go back and forth to different tanks, and there were no check valves anywhere. And that makes it really interesting when you're moving water and there's no check valves. Pumps are basically the only thing that's ends up being a real valve because you have to leave any regulator or any say a rising stem valve, just a valve. There's a series of valves, but you have to have everything always flowing like that. But yeah, it was amazing to start out. What I first started out with was a central steam for heat power plant. We had over 40 miles of steam lines and almost 60 miles of condensate return lines that we had going out to different buildings, hundreds of buildings across the base. All used our steam made from these massively tall boilers, 6 stories high boilers. Four of those always running, always running. I mean, always running, probably about 80% demand. It's just things were, and they weren't the most dependable. I think that's the word. Boilers, you could lose them 2 or 3 times a shift on a bad night, stormy night, or whatever. Soda time, hang on. Somebody out there saying, "Who's he talking to?" I don't know who he is. Let me take a quick look here. Oh, cool. We have a family of foxes in our neighborhood. Cool. We have coyote around here. That's a big one. They were actually introduced to control the deer population and goose population, and they've expanded around. And you can even see, I really haven't seen one around my yard, no, but uh, I can hear them off toward the lake that is to the south of me here. Out that way, I've heard 2 packs of them. And out at work, I used to every night you just hear them on the hunt. I mean, they were just insane mad with the howling and the barking. We always carried, the smart ones did anyway, always carried a good pepper spray and and something you could use as a weapon. Because if they decide to eat you, you just don't have one coyote coming after you. Yeah, you got 10. So you might want something. And if the best thing you can have is pepper spray, really the OC potent stuff, then that's what you wanted. We pretty well carried that. Always had a flashlight. Always had a phone, of course. Always had a pen because we used to have to go. And after the first power plant was closed, they had steam from individual boilers in all those different buildings that we used to steam from one power plant. So all of a sudden now we're making rounds to 30 different buildings every shift, and well, it has some nasty winters. The, the newer guys at the power plant have not experienced a nasty winter there yet. We literally will be stuck 3 or 4 days before we can get anybody to plow us out because the base is that huge and there's a priority list. Engineers always have priority. Always. These guys make a fortune. Half of them live so far away they can't get to work anyway. But the first thing they always tackle with the snow plows is the engineer building parking lots. We are probably number 10 on the list as far as order went, and they just wouldn't come out to our building. So if we couldn't get out of there, then how we couldn't go check all those boilers. And if those boilers went down and needed resetting, you could easily freeze a boiler. Easily. You know, hot water drops in temperature faster than cold water does. If you take boiling hot water, put it into the freezer, and at the same time take room temperature water, put it in the freezer, both will about the same time freeze. The drastic temperature of water going from a higher temperature to a lower one extremely fast it's just got a lot of energy and it just kind of pushes its way down the thermometer quicker. It's just a neat fact. Let's see how I'm doing here. Oh, wait for me. Fox, that's so cool. Okay, I'm going to go and beam me up, Mr. Scott. I think you probably already left. God knows I've been going on forever here. I might run a Kerbal Space Program. Stream not stop by if you want. I'm not sure what that is. Sometimes I show my age, but I'm pretty techy. I mean, I've been in tech before it was even tech. God, back in the early, I'll say mid '80s, really mid '80s. Anything from that point on, I've been on top of. I just never talk about it. That's just another one of my many hobbies here. Peace and have a great night, guys. I know you don't know what I'm doing. You just keep seeing these little dots around. And that's all I was doing. I'm checking my video, and I know right now it's blurry. I'm gonna end with a picture of the flowers here. So I bought dollar store lights. They work beautiful. Solar lights absolutely work beautiful. And here I got some zinnias that I bought pretty much, and the lights are just doing a great picture on the flowers. Going to end with that. Hey Don, thank you Don. I always like to see such feedback from my friends. Anybody can give me awards. I think that's what they call them here. I don't know. They never like to make it sound like money. They just don't do that. Classic example: Facebook. Facebook, you have stars. Now, oh, thank you for the 20,000 stars. That's $20. Now that's what the show guy gets. But and there might be a draft from that. For all I know, I don't think that Facebook would do anything for free in that respect. But they sell those stars for around $24, almost $25, and but they're only worth in value 20, so they pocket five right there. No matter what, they pocket at least once. Probably they hit the show host as well. I'm thinking that that's a good possibility. I like to watch these. It's America Truck Simulator. Check that out on Facebook if you haven't seen it before. I put a link up there, but I took it down. There's a lot of guys. There's about a dozen different guys, and the simulator takes place basically in the West, the West all the way to the West Coast West, all the states up to the Canadian border, and pretty much down, working its way almost through the southern part of California, maybe to the southern part of California. But they use GPS not only for the roads, but they use the satellite. What's it called? What's it called? It's not satellite. I'm listening to a morning dove. This freaking um, air conditioner could really go off right about now. Yeah, I just heard a morning dove doing the hoo 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 kind of noise. I know probably the sounds of probably six, maybe seven birds. Oh, like all their different calls, I can hear and tell. Visually, I probably know about 12, and we have at least that here. Uh, as the season changes, the birds change a little bit too. Right now, we got a lot of cardinals. We have a few, but enough blue jays. Um, then there's others. There's all I like to call them titted tough mice instead instead of the other one. Yeah. Um, let's see. What I'm thinking. What other birds am I thinking of here? Lots of sparrows, mourning doves. I mentioned. The cardinals are just probably the prettiest thing we get here. We do have red-winged blackbirds. So at a time, hang on. I believe I know we have them. I just don't see them all that often. I caught one a few days ago. Uh, you really can tell them if you're not having a good view of it when they take off. They got that beautiful red, white, and black arrows that go across its wing as it flies. And on the last note I had the other day, I went outside. This is where I would like to do share screen. Man, I wish that's an option. I would love to have that, just to be able to show you guys right now, Don. It would be great to go into my photo album and just go over some of the pictures I've taken the last few days. I think it's some great pictures of just yard stuff. But the big one was I've been watching a hawk. Now they're massive. They have 6 foot wingspans, I think, on those things. And he flew over my yard about 50 feet up, and he was circling back. This is all I'm just assuming now, but he did that, and I didn't catch a picture of him. But the next day, I had two turkey buzzards on my fence. Like, and turkey buzzards come around for one thing. They smell death. They probably have the most keen sense of smelling dead things out there. And and they're massive too, uh, are uh, are on my fence. So I'm not sure what's going on, but my wife then spotted behind one of those lights over there. Matter of fact, those lights. Uh, she uh, she spotted a squirrel that I believe it was kind of torn open, so I mean had tail ends on it, and but I think that the hawk had it, but it dropped it. It just happened to land right there by my butterfly bushes where the lamps are. So I took a shovel and got rid of it, and then I saw the hawk one more time, but I didn't get a good picture. I got a picture, but not a good picture of it. By the time you zoom in, it's all pixels. You don't know what it is. Uh, but I, it blew me away to see the turkey buzzards here. Never seen them in my yard before. I guess I never had anything dead here. But literally, the two of them found it. They didn't get a chance to go after it. I showed up too soon and spooked them off. Well, partly ripped apart, so that must have been from the hawk. But it's gorgeous to see that huge hawk here. It's this ain't James Bond stuff I'm doing here, but I'm enjoying the whole thing. Look at this, like Flight 95. If you come runway 27, approach at 2,000 feet. Oh, Roger, tower. You know, looks like a runway or something out here. So, good night, guys. Don, thank you so much. Appreciate for the award. Ah, cool. It's adding up there. I don't know what the number is now, but it's a pretty solid number. I know you need $200 in order to cash out the amount that you've earned. So I mean, I'm a long way from that, and I'm not even thinking about that. I don't broadcast enough. I'm not overly sure. Mine is doing some barbecue stuff. I may not cook again, that's terrible to say, but I enjoy this format, this talking format. I'm just walking around in circles. I mean, going around the picnic table, dodging behind the nectarine tree. Yes, I have a nectarine tree. Let me see. Let me turn the light on here for this because they're really starting to come along nicely. Let's see if I can. Where's the button? Oh, this button on this lamp is so hard to find. There it is. Let's see. And I just got a low battery warning too. Let me get the light off there. See if I can get a branch that's got a bunch of them. Uh, and not hit it with too much light. Here we go. So they're coming along good. The nectarines. I got to turn these lights off. Um, they never get that big before the groundhog climbs the tree. And boy, can they climb trees. Thing weighs like 40 pounds. Uh, but he's climbing this little crappy tree, and he just gets up there and shakes until all the fruit falls on the ground. Then he starts grabbing that up by the mouthfuls and eating that stuff down. But I've had a few of the mature ones, and they're tiny. It's not like we have an orchard here. And it's not a very. It's maybe 9 feet tall and probably about 9 foot round. Half of it's dead, and I've cut it all away, and it's doing really good. What I saved of it though. So power is gone. 31 people have been in here. I was hoping the number might be higher and stimulate some brain cells tonight. Maybe I don't know. Good night, Don. Anybody else who come in? Ah, check me out some other time.